Welcome to the Explainer. So, right now, whether you're sitting at your desk or lounging on the couch, there's a really good chance your hand is resting on or maybe right next to a computer mouse. If you can, go ahead and grab it. Yeah, just give it a little wiggle around on your desk. It feels like the most natural, basic movement in the world, right? You move your hand and bam, the cursor on your screen moves right along with it. Completely seamless. But beneath that smooth plastic shell you're holding, it is an absolute marvel of modern engineering, operating at a microscopic level and at lightning fast speeds. Today, we're going to uncover the invisible magic that makes that simple little movement actually happen. Okay, let's dive into this. It's incredibly easy to take this little device for granted, but when you really stop and think about it, we are looking at a massive technological hurdle. How do you perfectly and instantly translate the chaotic analog physical movement of a human hand into precise digital coordinates on a two-dimensional screen? Like, how does a literal chunk of plastic actually know it's moving? Well, it's not magic, it's meticulous engineering. So here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with number 1, inside your computer mouse. Then move to 2, the tiny image sensor. After that, it's 3, the cross-correlation algorithm. Followed by 4, gaming vs normal mice. And finally 5, understanding mouse DPI. All right, let's kick things off with section 1, inside your computer mouse, peeking under the plastic. Imagine taking a screwdriver to that mouse on your desk and just popping the top cover right off. Inside, you'd see this whole ecosystem of components working together. You've got your printed circuit boards. They act kind of like the nervous system, routing all the electrical signals. If it's a wireless mouse, you'll definitely find lithium-ion batteries powering the whole shebang. Up near the front, there's the mechanical scroll wheel assembly, and right beneath your left and right clickers are micro switches, usually made by companies like Omron, that give you that super satisfying tactile click. But the absolute beating heart of this entire device, and our main focus for today, is the optical navigation system sitting right at the very bottom. Which brings us to section 2, the tiny image sensor, the microscopic camera. Zooming in past those circuit boards and looking straight down at the surface of your desk, we find the absolute core of the system, the image sensor. Now, a lot of people just assume a mouse kind of feels the friction of the mousepad as it drags across it, right? But actually, an image sensor is a microscopic high-speed camera. Your mouse isn't feeling the surface at all. It is actively taking microscopic photographs of it. Basically, an LED or a laser illuminates the tiny microscopic peaks and valleys of your mousepad, casting shadows that this tiny camera captures to map out the terrain. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the number 1000. This microscopic camera isn't just snapping a picture here and there. A standard sensor snaps roughly 1,000 individual frames every single second. Think about that. It is relentlessly snapping away, capturing sequential images of the surface so incredibly fast that it can detect even the slightest, most imperceptible flinch of your wrist. Moving right along to section 3, cross-correlation algorithm, the math behind the movement. So how exactly does the mouse turn thousands of surface photos into actual screen movement? Well, the secret sauce here is the cross-correlation algorithm. Honestly, think of it as the world's fastest game of spot the difference. First, the sensor captures an initial image of the mousepad's texture. A millisecond later, you move the mouse slightly and it snaps a subsequent image. The internal processor then quickly compares these two images and finds the overlapping pattern. Because you moved the mouse, the shadows and textures in the second image will have shifted just a tiny bit from the first. Finally, by measuring exactly how far those tiny surface details shifted between frame 1 and frame 2, the algorithm calculates the precise distance and direction your hand moved. And the crazy part? It does this entire sequence over and over and over again, thousands of times a second. Let's move to and see how this builds into section 4, gaming versus normal mice, the hardware showdown. Now that we understand the microscopic math going on, how does this actually dictate the products you see on store shelves? When we compare your basic office mice to high-end gaming mice, what we're really comparing is the raw processing power of that cross-correlation algorithm. A basic office mouse, it has a standard sensor. It's really just meant for browsing the web or clicking on spreadsheets, so it takes enough pictures per second to get that job done smoothly. But a high-end gaming mouse is a literal performance machine. It requires highly advanced sensors and lightning-fast processing, because a gamer might aggressively flick their wrist across the desk in a fraction of a second. If the internal processor isn't powerful enough to compare those thousands of images instantly, the cursor is going to freeze or spin out entirely. So a gaming mouse is essentially a supercomputer dedicated entirely to that rapid-fire game of spot the difference. And that leads perfectly into Section 5, Understanding Mouse DPI, Measuring Precision. So the crucial point is, how do we actually measure and quantify all this insane sensor power? The metric we use is DPI, or dots per inch. DPI is literally just a strict measurement of how many pixels the cursor moves on your screen for every single inch you physically move the mouse on your desk. So if your mouse is set to 800 DPI, moving it exactly 1 physical inch will move your digital cursor exactly 800 pixels. It really is the ultimate benchmark of the sensor's precision and sensitivity. And to show you just how far engineering has pushed this tech, look at this number on the screen, 25,000. The absolute pinnacle of modern optical sensors found in top-tier gaming mice today can reach a staggering 25,000 DPI. That means moving your hand just 1 single inch translates to 25,000 pixels of movement on your screen. The microscopic camera is so remarkably precise, and that cross-correlation algorithm is so incredibly robust that it can map out microscopic dust and texture variations with unfathomable exactness. It's literally mind-blowing. And this brilliantly illustrates our whole journey today. On one side, your basic, everyday mouse handles standard math at maybe 1,000 DPI. It gets the job done. On the other side, the 25,000 DPI gaming mouse is running extreme calculations, capturing thousands of frames per second, and tracking movements smaller than a human hair to ensure absolute, flawless accuracy. The external plastic shell might look pretty much identical to the basic one, but the internal specs scale up dramatically based on what the user actually needs the device to do. So the very next time you sit down at your computer, take a second to look at that mouse resting under your hand. You are actively commanding a high-speed camera and an advanced mathematical processor that are constantly taking thousands of microscopic photos a second just to let you click on a video or send an email. Which really makes you wonder, if so much mind-blowing technology is packed into a basic computer mouse, what other incredible microscopic engineering is hiding in plain sight right there on your desk? Keep exploring, keep questioning, and thank you so much for joining me on this explainer.